The perfect trap commander, Takashi Nakamura stood on the observation deck of Luna Station 7, watching as space itself seemed to darken with the arrival of countless alien vessels. The ships materialized from hyperspace like a swarm of metallic locusts, each one taking its predetermined position around Earth. Within minutes, humanity's homeworld was completely encased in a sphere of alien warships. The sight would have been beautiful if it wasn't so terrifying. The Galactic Consortium had finally made their move. After 5 years of increasingly hostile negotiations, they had brought their combined military might to Earth's doorstep. Nakamura counted the signatures on his tactical display: 8,463 vessels from 12 different species. Each ship was positioned with mathematical precision, creating an impenetrable barrier around Earth. No ship could leave. No help could arrive. Humanity was trapped like a mouse in a cage. Lieutenant Commander Sarah Williams approached him with a data pad. Her face was calm, but Nakamura could see the tension in her shoulders. She had been with him since the beginning, one of the few who knew the truth about what was really happening. "The consortium is broadcasting on all frequencies, sir. They want to make sure everyone on Earth hears their message." Nakamura nodded slowly, his weathered face showing no emotion. "Put it on the main screen. Let's hear what Supreme Overlord Zix Theta has to say." The holographic display shimmered and revealed the grotesque form of Zix Theta. The Vorthon leader stood 3 meters tall, his crystalline body reflecting light in ways that hurt human eyes. Behind him stood representatives from the other consortium species. The insectoid scree with their razor-sharp mandibles, the gelatinous blob collective undulating in their containment suits, the mechanical centauri with their emotionless metal faces. Each species had sent their military commanders to witness humanity's surrender. "Humans of Earth," Zix Theta's voice boomed through the translator, sounding like grinding glass. "You have been judged by the Galactic Consortium and found wanting. Your species is too violent, too unpredictable, too dangerous to be allowed freedom among the stars. You have 5 solar rotations to accept our terms." Nakamura listened as the alien overlord listed their demands: complete disarmament of all human military forces, surrender of all technology above Level 3 classification, acceptance of consortium oversight for all human activities, population reduction to sustainable levels as determined by alien scientists, mandatory genetic modification to remove aggressive tendencies. The list went on, each demand more humiliating than the last. "If you refuse these reasonable terms," Zix Theta continued, his crystalline form pulsing with colors that indicated satisfaction in Vorthon body language, "we will have no choice but to initiate planetary cleansing protocols. Your species will be reduced to a manageable population of approximately 1 million individuals, who will serve as a cautionary tale for other aggressive species." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in silence. Nakamura could feel the fear radiating from the younger officers. They didn't know what he knew. They couldn't see the bigger picture. 3 years ago, when humanity had first made contact with the Galactic Consortium, it had become immediately clear that the aliens viewed humans as a threat. Not because humans were particularly advanced or powerful, but because they were unpredictable. The consortium species had evolved in relatively stable environments. They thought in straight lines, followed predictable patterns, and valued order above all else. Humans, who had evolved on a death world full of predators, diseases, and natural disasters, thought differently. They adapted quickly, took risks, and thrived in chaos. Director Chen had seen the writing on the wall before anyone else. The elderly woman who ran Earth's Deep Space Intelligence Division had called a secret meeting of humanity's best strategic minds. Nakamura remembered her words clearly. "They will come for us eventually, not because we've done anything wrong, but because we don't fit into their neat little boxes. We need to be ready." That meeting had given birth to Operation Shadow Web, the most ambitious deception in human history. The plan was elegantly simple in concept, but staggeringly complex in execution. Instead of building a massive fleet to match the consortium's military might, which would have been impossible anyway, humanity would infiltrate the alien civilization from within. Over the course of 3 years, thousands of humans had left Earth as apparent refugees, traitors, and wanderers. They claimed to be fleeing Earth's violence, seeking a better life among the peaceful consortium worlds. The aliens, confident in their superiority, had welcomed these harmless humans with condescending pity. Agent Maria Rodriguez had been one of the first to leave. She now worked as a maintenance technician on Vorthon Prime's main orbital station. Her supervisors praised her dedication and attention to detail, never suspecting that she had spent 2 years mapping every critical system in their capital's defenses. Agent James Thompson had become a popular chef on the Scree homeworld, his restaurant serving as a gathering place for off-duty military personnel who spoke freely after a few drinks. He had learned more about Scree military tactics from drunken boasting than any spy satellite could have discovered. Agent Li Wei had perhaps the most important position of all. She worked as a data analyst for the consortium's Central Communications Hub, the massive space station that coordinated faster-than-light messages between all member worlds. The aliens trusted her because she seemed so eager to please, so grateful for the opportunity to escape violent Earth. They never suspected that she had installed quantum transmitters throughout the station, giving humanity the ability to monitor and intercept every military communication in consortium space. The infiltration hadn't been without casualties. Some agents had been discovered and executed. Others had simply vanished, their fates unknown. But for every agent lost, 2 more had successfully embedded themselves in alien society. By the time the consortium fleet had surrounded Earth, humanity had over 10,000 agents scattered throughout their territory. Each one was trained, equipped, and waiting for a single signal. Nakamura turned to Williams, who had been patiently waiting while he reviewed the situation. "Status report on our assets?" he asked quietly. Williams pulled up a secure display that only they could see. "All primary assets are in position and have confirmed ready status. Secondary assets are at 92% readiness. The Jupiter installation is fully operational. The consortium hasn't detected any of our hidden facilities." Nakamura allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had made the classic mistake of assuming that humans would think like them. They expected Earth to build visible defenses, to create massive fleets to prepare for a conventional war. Instead, humanity had done what it did best. It had adapted, hidden, and prepared to fight dirty. The Jupiter installation was perhaps humanity's greatest achievement. Hidden beneath the storms of the gas giant, it was a massive industrial complex that had been building something special for the past 3 years. Not ships or weapons in the traditional sense, but something far more dangerous. The aliens didn't know that humans had cracked the secret of quantum entanglement communication. They didn't know that every human agent carried a quantum beacon that could transmit their location instantly across any distance. Most importantly, they didn't know about the 12,000 automated defense platforms that had been launched from Jupiter over the past year, each one disguised as space debris or dead satellites. "Commander, we're receiving a priority transmission from Director Chen," Williams announced. Nakamura activated his private communicator. Director Chen appeared as a hologram, her aged face showing the kind of calm that came from seeing too many crises. The image was crystal clear despite being transmitted from a bunker 5 kilometers beneath Earth's surface. "Commander Nakamura," she said without preamble, "the consortium has shown their hand. It's time we showed ours. Are your assets ready?" Nakamura straightened his uniform. "All assets report ready status, Director. We can initiate Shadow Web at your command." Chen was quiet for a moment, considering the weight of what they were about to do. Once they activated Shadow Web, there would be no going back. Humanity would either win its freedom or face extinction. There would be no middle ground. The consortium had made sure of that with their ultimatum. "Commander," Chen said finally, "you have authorization to proceed. Initiate Shadow Web. May fortune favor the bold." The transmission ended, leaving Nakamura alone with the responsibility of commanding the most important military operation in human history. The reversal. The countdown timer on the main display showed 47 hours remaining until the consortium's deadline. Around Earth, the alien fleet maintained its perfect formation, weapons powered and ready to turn humanity's cradle into a charred cinder. On every human communication channel, news broadcasts showed scenes of panic and desperation. World leaders called for calm while secretly preparing for the worst. Religious leaders prayed for divine intervention. Ordinary people hugged their loved ones and wondered if they would see another sunrise. But in Luna Station 7's command center, Nakamura and his team worked with focused intensity. The panic on Earth was real, but it was also useful. The aliens were monitoring human communications, and they needed to see exactly what they expected. A species paralyzed by fear, unable to mount any meaningful resistance. Williams coordinated with her counterparts at the other hidden command centers. The Mars installation, buried beneath Olympus Mons, reported ready. The asteroid belt station, disguised as an abandoned mining facility, was online. The Europa base, hidden beneath kilometers of ice, confirmed all systems operational. Initiating shadow web in 3 minutes, Nakamura announced. All stations report final status. One by one, the hidden human facilities throughout the solar system reported their readiness. Each one controlled dozens of assets, both human and automated. The quantum communication network hummed with activity, as thousands of agents throughout consortium space received their final instructions. On Vorthon Prime, Maria Rodriguez finished her maintenance shift and casually made her way to the orbital station's primary power distribution center. Her supervisor had given her the access codes weeks ago. Trusting her completely, she pulled out what looked like a standard diagnostic tool, but was actually a sophisticated virus delivery system. With practiced ease, she connected it to the main power grid and uploaded 2 years' worth of carefully crafted malware. On the Scree homeworld, James Thompson closed his restaurant early, claiming illness. His regular customers wished him well, hoping their favorite human chef would recover quickly. They didn't notice him entering the maintenance tunnels beneath the military district, carrying what appeared to be cleaning supplies. Hidden among the bottles and brushes were 12 quantum disruption devices, each one capable of creating a localized electromagnetic pulse that would disable electronics within a 3-kilometer radius. Li Wei sat at her station in the communications hub, running what appeared to be routine diagnostics. Her alien supervisors paid no attention to the quiet human who always arrived early and left late. They didn't realize that she had just activated the quantum transmitters she had been placing throughout the station for months. In 60 seconds, every military communication in consortium space would be rerouted through human filters. The aliens would only hear what humanity wanted them to hear. Shadow web activation in 10 seconds, Nakamura announced. His voice was calm, but his heart raced with anticipation. Everything they had worked for, everything they had sacrificed came down to this moment. 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Execute. The word had barely left his mouth when space around Earth erupted into chaos. The 12,000 hidden defense platforms activated simultaneously, their camouflage systems dropping to reveal sleek weapons that humanity had developed in secret. But these weren't conventional weapons. Instead of lasers or missiles, each platform projected a quantum interference field that temporarily disabled faster-than-light communication. In an instant, the consortium fleet found itself cut off from home. Supreme Overlord Zix Theta's crystalline form flickered with confusion as his command ship's displays went dark. The quantum interference was something the consortium had never encountered before. Their technology, for all its advancement, relied on predictable physics. Humans had learned to weaponize uncertainty itself, but the communication blackout was just the beginning. Throughout consortium space, human agents struck simultaneously. Power grids failed on 17 major worlds. Military installations found their defensive systems turning against them. Supply depots exploded in carefully controlled demolitions that destroyed resources but minimized casualties. Humanity wasn't trying to commit genocide. They were demonstrating a capability that the consortium had never imagined possible. On Vorthon Prime, the orbital station's lights flickered and died as Maria's virus spread through the power grid. Emergency systems activated, but they too had been compromised. The station's 10,000 inhabitants found themselves trapped in darkness, their advanced technology useless. The Scree homeworld's military district erupted in panic as Thompson's EMP devices detonated in sequence. Weapons refused to fire. Vehicles wouldn't start. Communication devices produced only static. The proud warrior species found themselves as helpless as children, but perhaps the most devastating blow came from the communications hub. Li Wei's quantum transmitters didn't just intercept consortium messages. They replaced them with carefully crafted disinformation. Suddenly, every consortium world received urgent messages that their neighbors were betraying them. The Vorthons heard that the Scree were planning to seize control of the consortium. The Scree received intelligence that the Centauri were preparing to harvest their worlds for resources. Old tensions and suspicions, carefully catalogued by human agents over 3 years, were inflamed with surgical precision. Within hours, the mighty galactic consortium was tearing itself apart. Species that had maintained an uneasy alliance for centuries suddenly turned on each other, Fleets abandoned their positions around Earth to rush home and defend their own worlds. The perfect sphere of ships that had trapped humanity dissolved into chaos as each species scrambled to protect its own interests. Nakamura watched it all unfold on his tactical displays. The quantum communication network gave humanity perfect visibility into the chaos they had created. He felt no joy in the destruction, only grim satisfaction that the plan had worked. "Incoming transmission from Supreme Overlord Zix Theta," Williams reported. "He's using an emergency beacon. It's barely getting through the interference." "Put him through," Nakamura ordered. The holographic display showed a very different Zix Theta than the one who had delivered the ultimatum days before. His crystalline body was cracked in several places, and his colors flickered with what Nakamura recognized as fear. "What have you done?" the alien leader demanded. "This is impossible. Humans don't have this technology." Nakamura stepped forward, his expression neutral. "Supreme Overlord, humans have a saying, never corner a wounded animal. You surrounded our world and threatened our extinction. Did you really think we would simply accept our fate? This is barbarism," Zix Theta raged. "You've attacked civilian targets. You've turned allies against each other. You've violated every rule of civilized warfare." For the first time, Nakamura smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Civilized warfare? You threatened to exterminate our entire species except for 1 million slaves. You demanded we mutilate ourselves genetically to meet your standards. Don't lecture us about civilization." Zix Theta's form pulsed with desperate energy. "Call off your attacks. We can negotiate!" Nakamura shook his head. "The attacks will end when your fleet withdraws from our system, and the consortium formally recognizes Earth's sovereignty. You have 1 hour to begin your withdrawal, or Phase 2 of Shadow Web activates." "There is no Phase 2, Zix Theta protested. "This must be everything you have." The human commander's smile widened. "Supreme Overlord, what you've experienced so far is just our agents acting with the equipment they could carry or build in secret. Phase 2 involves the assets we've been building openly." The alien leader's form froze. "What assets? The mining ships throughout the asteroid belt that you ignored because they seemed so primitive? They're not mining ships. They're mobile missile platforms carrying quantum torpedoes. The cargo vessels traveling between Earth and Mars that you dismissed as harmless? They're stealth bombers equipped with antimatter weapons. The research stations on Jupiter's moons that you never bothered to investigate? They're manufacturing facilities that have been producing war drones for 3 years." Nakamura let that sink in before continuing. "We have 50,000 war drones hidden throughout the solar system. Each one is equipped with a quantum drive that allows it to jump directly to any coordinate in the galaxy. Your homeworlds are already targeted. Your fleet here is already surrounded. You have 58 minutes to begin your withdrawal." The transmission ended, leaving Zix Theta staring at empty space. Around him, his bridge crew looked to him for orders, but the Supreme Overlord had none to give. The consortium had based their entire strategy on the assumption that humans were a young, isolated species with limited technology and no strategic depth. They had never imagined that humanity had spent 3 years preparing for exactly this moment. 40 minutes later, the first consortium ship engaged its hyperdrive and fled the solar system. Within an hour, the entire fleet was in retreat, racing back to defend their homeworlds from threats both real and imagined. The perfect trap they had constructed around Earth had become their own cage, and humanity had just shown them the door. Director Chen's image appeared on Nakamura's private display. "Well done, Commander. Phase 2? She nodded. "Activate Phase 2. Let's make sure they never forget this lesson." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden arsenal revealed itself. The war drones, the quantum torpedoes, the antimatter weapons, all of it was real. But instead of attacking, they simply positioned themselves at strategic points throughout consortium space. Each drone broadcast a simple message: Earth is protected. Any species that threatens humanity will face the consequences. We desire peace, but we are prepared for war. Choose wisely. The galactic consortium had surrounded Earth thinking they were predators circling weak prey. They discovered too late that they had walked into a web carefully woven by the most dangerous predator in the galaxy, a species that had evolved on a death world and learned to turn every disadvantage into an opportunity. Humanity had won not through superior firepower or technology, but through the one advantage the aliens never expected: the ability to think like underdogs even while planning like champions. As the last consortium ship vanished into hyperspace, Nakamura finally allowed himself to relax. Earth was safe. Humanity's place among the stars was secured. And the galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate the species that climbed to the top of the food chain on a world that tried to kill them every single day. The message was clear. Humanity had arrived and they were here to stay.